More containers and oil are spilling into the sea off the Tauranga coast from the stricken vessel Rena as the disaster enters its second week. Otago University Associate Professor Barrie has lectured on marine pollution and joins me now to discuss the unfolding tragedy. Good evening, Barrie.
Good evening, Rebecca.
Why is this such a major environmental event?
Well, I don't think there's ever been an occasion in New Zealand's maritime history where there has been a ship of this size that has grounded, and there's really three aspects to this. There is the leakage of the oil, a significant amount of oil if it all gets discharged. It's the containers that are coming off it that in some cases contain dangerous chemicals that can react with the water, and also if the ship breaks up. That's a major concern. So there's three aspects, I think, that make this a potentially major environmental disaster.
What sort of oil is on board?
It's a bunker C type oil, which is a very heavy oil, which is typically used as a fuel for these ships.
What is one of the best methods of cleaning up an oil spill like this?
Well, you can do two things: a sort of human intervention, which you can physically restrain the oil spill by putting booms around it, sort of corralling it. You can spray dispersant on it, providing it hasn't sort of spread out, or you can just let nature take care of it, and that would be wind to disperse it and dilute it over a big area. So, so there are a number of options there.
Chemical dispersant was used at the beginning of this event. Was that a mistake?
No, probably not. Chemical dispersants have certainly been used overseas. They were used in the Gulf of Mexico, but interestingly enough, the particular dispersant that was used in Tauranga, which is called Corex 95,000, has been found to be totally ineffective in the Gulf of Mexico. There's reports that have come out from very reputable independent scientific bodies that have shown that it was totally ineffective. So it's unfortunate that it was also used here.
Do you believe that authorities handled the situation well at the start?
Well, I was actually out of the country when it happened, so I guess I'm only sort of catching up. From my understanding, given the calm conditions, they probably didn't realise that so much oil was going to escape, and that they could have possibly used booms and so forth more quickly. But I mean, once the wind came up, you can't use booms, and I think they've got into gear, certainly over the beginning of the weekend, yes.
Do you think this event will have any implications for oil exploration off Otago's coast?
Well, that's an interesting question. I think the two situations are very different. That the Otago, this is about 12 kilometres or 12 miles off the Tauranga coast. It's my understanding that oil exploration would be 40 or 50 kilometres off the coast in much, much deeper water. Instead of 50 metres deep, it would be 1,500, 2,000 metres deep, and much more aggressive oceanic currents. But if there was a spill like there was at the Gulf of Mexico, then maybe there's a possibility that it could affect the coastline around Otago.
How does oil interact with seawater?
Well, once you get the initial spill, there's three distinct processes. The volatile components escape up into the atmosphere within the first 24 hours, 2 days. Then the soluble components dissolve up in the water, and then over a matter of perhaps days and a week, and then after that, the tarry residues, what's left, form these tar balls and slicks, and these are the things that were washed onto Papamoa Beach.
What are the long-term effects of a spill like this on ecology and the economy?
They could be significant. I think the economic effects flow on from the ecological effects, and depending if any of it gets into the Tauranga harbour, then it's potentially much more serious there, where salt marshes and mangrove swamps and things that could sit around for a very, very long time. But out at Motiti Island there, I think the initial effects will probably be a smothering of life on the bottom of the seabed there, which of course would spoil the diving. It's a possibility that fish could ingest the water in which the soluble components have been dissolved up. They could die, and it could be tainted fish. So I think over the next 6 months there could be a significant effect, and then it would just drop off with time. Yes.
Associate Professor Barrie, thanks very much for your time.
Thanks, Rebecca.
After the break on 9 Local News, a local group put a twist on a classic tale, and we'll check out weather for Friday.